Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to Thursday's edition of As Above, So Below, a Rune and Tarot Divination for the, I guess, sixth day, is it, of January 2022. Well, I'm going to go ahead here and get started. Again, pay attention to the changes on the blog over at Stepping Aside at imsteppingaside.com. Things are still going up daily as far as the correspondences for work and magic, but everything else is going to go up weekly from, I think, this point forward. I'm going to see how that feels. I don't like to keep doing the same thing all the time. It kind of prevents me from doing other things that I want to do. I haven't really written about herbs in a while, and I need to do that. And so, and I haven't written about any other opinion pieces or any kind of esoteric type of writing. I haven't done any of that in a while either. So I just want to try something different. I do that at the beginning of every year, and then sometimes I'll change up, midway as well. So I just like to. I don't like it to be the same thing, and I was kind of getting into a rut. So I think it's time to shift a bit and try something new. Let's go ahead though and take the rune and see what we have for today. I hope the weather is doing well in your area. We had wind on the weekend and Sunday, Monday. That was just crazy. Something hit the house, and I don't know yet what that was. We still haven't been able to figure that out. It probably hit it and went on, but probably a branch or something broke off or something. But I don't know. We haven't been able to figure that out. But we'll see. Let's see. Ansu's. Now, this is Odin's rune. Some people want to call Othala Odin's rune, but that's not true. It's actually, at least not in my research ever. I've never seen it ever written that way. But sometimes people get a hold of the runes and they essentially blaspheme them as far as I'm concerned. And so they turn them into something that is not a language of spirit, that is not higher resonance. It's just pure ego driven, and it's just sad. It's not what they are, but that's what's happened. But this is Ansu's, and this is Odin's rune. It's about higher awareness and eloquence and spirit communication and divinity. And so it's drawing down all of the your awareness basically from spirit and then expressing that outward to other people. So that's basically what that is all about. So it's suggesting on the as above side of things today that you should try to raise your awareness, raise your vibration, and don't react with ego to anything that's going on. These are difficult times, with the Omicron thing happening. Let's see, we've got, looks like we've got Tristitia, sadness and loss and grief for our geomancy rune. No, that's Laetitia. It's complement. Let's find Tristitia. No. It's about grief. It's about sadness. It's about loss. It's about deception. This might be it here. Yeah, here it is. That's Tristitia. You got passive influence in fire, air, and water, and an active influence in earth. And what that means, passive are the dual dots and active are the single dots. Geomancy, I throw down 4 elemental runes and put them in the order of fire, air, water, and earth, going downward. That's how they go. And so I think that together, overall, what they're saying is that if you can, I think it's showing the dichotomy between the wholeness of our experience, the as above, so below experience when we're in form. You have souls having essentially they embed into the body, they infuse into the body. and then they have this experience for their lifetime, right? Their so-called lifetime. And over the course of that, they can get caught up really in the reaction of it all, which brings in the ego and the lower vibrational responses that we have. Or you can remember that you're spirit, even though you pass through the veil and you have the veil of forgetting, right? And so you're not so focused on the fact that you're, in other words, you have to have the struggle of life, right? And you have to awaken to the idea that you're actually spirit, the soul is inhabiting the body. So you can either have higher self, the oversoul, the spirit, whatever, the collective consciousness, whatever you want to call that, inform your perceptions, inform how you see everything, allowing you to observe more than reacting, and learning from it without having, to basically get your feet wet too much. Or you can dive right in and forget that you're the soul, forget that the spirit is there to tell you, hey, remember, you're supposed to be seeing this from a loftier perspective. Instead, you get all caught up, right? And you focus on the ego side of things. And I think that that's what Tristitia is telling us. When you do that, you forget that you are spirit. You forget the divinity within that Ansu suggests. You forget to engage with people in that level of spiritual eloquence, and it devolves into grief, and it devolves into deception, and it's the real ego side of things. Your focus is purely on what you see around you without any spirit helping you to understand it, in other words. So, well, I have shuffled a bit here already. The cards are still new enough that they're not cooperating. If I shuffle on my lap, I do better. I get over the top of them better. But if I do it on a table, oh my Lord, they go everywhere. Because they're still really slippery, but I'm really liking this deck. I like the colors in it. It's called the Magic Seer deck. It's just a Rider-Waite deck, but as you can see, it doesn't have the border. And some of the, and although some of the colors are the same, you see here the blue is different. It's a little more of a gray blue. And some of the cards are just, they've replaced some of the backgrounds with this blue colors, the different shades of that. And they're just gorgeous. And I really, really like this deck. I normally would just use my Rider-Waite deck here, but that's what this is anyway. So none of the pictures on there, none of them are any different. It's just maybe some of the coloring is. And I don't know. I just kind of relate to it a little bit better. I guess my favorite color, though, is... aside from black, is of course a dark grayish blue. I love that color. The smokier, the better on it. But any in that spectrum, I love those colors. So, anyhow, that's enough of that. Let's go ahead and draw the cards. We'll take the first 3 cards. If we need more, we will. Let's see. I think I need to shuffle a little bit more because I'm getting a card from the last reading. We don't need that. We had the Page of Swords on Monday, and I just drew that again. It's like, well, okay, maybe that's, if I pull it again, then we know, right? That was the card it was supposed to be. But let's be sure here that we don't get cards from on Monday's reading. Oh, okay. So let me tell you first about my view of the aces. The aces to me are very similar to the Fool, in that it is the new potential for the card. It's said to contain all of the energy of each suit. So if you get the Ace of Swords like we have today, then you're talking about all of the energy contained within the suit of swords. And that reflects the air element, or our perceptions. Justice, fairness, legal stuff, all of that is contained. Mental stuff, mental acuity, balance, reason. Did I say justice? I think I did. That's all contained within that. But I also have 2 cards and I also view it with the same level of import as the major arcana. So that's why I say it's just as the Fool begins the major arcana, the Ace of Swords begins the minor arcana. And then conversely, if you want to separate out the court from that, then the page would be the same sort of undeveloped potential found in the Fool and found in the aces. Okay, we don't know where the suit is going yet with the ace. We just know here it is, and it's always the hand is reaching out from the clouds of the unknown. You know, and then you see the crown up there, and that's spirit. So again, you know, spirit is coming in and saying, okay, here we are with the new element, and we're going to where we go is up to us, and that's what the rest of the suit is, right? But we begin with the Hangman, the 12th card of the major arcana. It's a 3 energy. So again, and I said this on Monday, instead of calling it mind, body, spirit, it should be spirit, soul, and ego, or body, or personality, whichever you want to call that last one. But here you see he's surrendering to spirit. You see the light around his head. You see triplicities, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that aligns with the numerology of the card. But the idea behind the Hangman is surrendering to spirit, surrendering to higher self-awareness, and to apply that then to the below part of the as above, so below. Have that be your perspective when you're looking at everything going on in your life, when you're perceiving everything. You need to perceive it from that higher awareness and not devolve into ego. We see a lot of that right now, a lot of struggle with that concept, whether you're talking about how we see ourselves in the greater society, or even with respect to the pandemic, where you have those that will mask up, those that will get vaccinated, and those that will not. Unfortunately, the ones that are not are keeping this whole thing going, whether they understand that or not. They are, and it's giving the virus someplace to go. And right now, the Omicron thing is on steroids. It's just going everywhere. So again, you know, cause and effect is playing out in front of us, and it's whether or not we're going to look at that from the standpoint of spirit. If we do, then I think we have a more realistic perspective on things. When we don't, then it's all about me, all about the individual, and my rights, and my this, and my that, and it's not about understanding that we're part of a collective experience here. It's all about the individual and whatever freedoms they believe they should have, and not understanding how that impacts, again, the cause and effect that has on the greater society, or just your family, you know, or your neighborhood, or your greater community, when you go to the grocery store, whatever. These are unsafe places now in terms of getting the virus. And it's still, you know, a very dangerous thing to have. We still don't know what the long-term effects on the body, for example, is going to be. How many people will ultimately be disabled, in other words, from this. And so, again, you have to see things from a bigger perspective, and the Hangman is suggesting you surrender to spirit on that. In comes the Ace of Swords. Again, justice, fairness, new awareness, awakening to fundamental truth. The hand reaching out from the clouds. You see the sword pointing up to spirit. The crown also indicates that, as does the garland around it. It looks like there's a little bit of raindrop there, isn't there? It's pushing up through the dark clouds of deception, and it's standing out there brilliantly, speaking truth to power, basically. It's having the courage to stand alone, and to follow a higher set of principles and values. We talked a little bit about that on Monday with the rune Tiwaz, and how that's the spiritual warrior within. And it basically, in a sense, this kind of resembles Tiwaz. This is Tiwaz here. I don't have one out, so this is Tiwaz here. It looks like a T. It's Isa, with Ken as above. I didn't draw that very well, but anyway, you get the idea. But it really does remind you of this, doesn't it? It's speaking truth to power. It's being fair. It's being just. It's doing the right thing for not only yourself, but for the greater good, for the greater community around you. Again, wear a mask, get vaccinated. You know, followed by judgment, the 20th card of the major arcana. We see Gabriel blowing his horn up in the sky there. We're going to talk about this here. Do I have it? Yes, I do. All right, so I don't have to always draw it out. I have it on a post-it, that I have it on my monitor here. But you see everybody standing up out of their caskets. He's blowing his horn. This is the card of judgment. It's really not, though, about judgment. It's really about awakening. A lot of your non-traditional decks will call this either rebirth or eon. And so you're moving into another dimension of experience, basically, and you're awakening to the truth. This would be the as above. This would be the so below. And we're going to, and it's also reflected in this as well. But with judgment, you know, you think about when the soul leaves the body, supposedly it goes through the reevaluation period. And all that is it's not meant to judge you. It's just meant to take a look at what happened and to see it for what it is. And then when you then incarnate again into another body, whether it's here on this planet or somewhere else, because I think we're everywhere at once. I don't think, you know, our oversoul spits out all these different pieces of itself, and we go everywhere, and we're having this collective experience at once. So it isn't just here on this planet, it's everywhere. And so you're bringing in all of the time as one lifetime, so-called lifetime, ends and a new one is about to begin. You're reevaluating all of it. It all goes into the collective Akashic record of our collective experience. It's not just the so-called individual's experience, because there really isn't an individual experience. This is all going back and informing, you know, the collective consciousness, essentially. But what we have here with that cross, we have spirit at the top. It's not a medical cross. It's not a religious cross. It's energy. All right. And we have spirit at the top. It's basically the blueprint of our life. Okay. And we have form at the bottom. We have this line of the abyss where we come through the veil into physical reality. Over here we have the feminine side of self, or the receptive side of self, the masculine side of self over here, or the projective side of self. And normally we're here. But at the time of judgment, you know, we see it all from right here. And here is where we really need to be seeing everything anyway, or at least somewhere up more closely to that, so that we invoke spirit into everything that we do, into our awareness, into our awakening. All right, into the perception of how we see reality. Do we get caught up in the ego's reaction, or do we stand back and observe and get the overall message that way? And our contribution from that point is not ego-based, but in fact spirit-based. And so realistically, this is what Gabriel is reminding us here. He's reminding us that you know, you aren't this. You know, you're this. And you need to understand what this is. If you do that, then there is healing involved, of course. It heals your perception. It raises, it transmutes ego into spirit, basically. That's the true message of judgment, is understanding, where did I react in ego and where did I react in spirit? And we all do this. We all react with ego. We all do. Every time we react to something and take the bait, in other words, we're reacting in ego. And I think that what this is suggesting here, especially with Ansus, is so that we don't devolve into the tristitia of it all, the deception, the grief, the sadness, the loss. So that we don't do that, we have to maintain higher awareness and access the divinity within at all times. You see, we surrender to spirit. we allow new perceptions to take hold based on drawing them down from spirit, and awaken to the new reality of, well, not the new reality, but to the reality of who we actually are. I think in this year of 2022, you've got the 20 here. And I don't have a 22 here, but on the other side of it. But maybe we could look at Ansus. Ansus is the 4th rune of the Elder Futhark, and so although I wouldn't want to add 2 and 2 together to get 4, you can. That would be the lower vibration of it, and that would be the expression of the 22 energy into form with Ansus. So there's an alignment there, I guess, overall. But the idea that this is going to be a profound year, Jupiter is in Pisces now, and Jupiter expands everything. And so what you're likely going to see here coming, it's going to be so till the middle of May, and then it comes back in the fall, October sometime, through I think the end of the year. It comes back into Jupiter in Pisces. For a little while it leaves, and then it comes back. So I think that the first half of the year and then the last quarter of the year, we're going to be looking at issues of profound change in a way that reflects compassion and empathy and understanding, a greater understanding of what's gone on over the last 5 or 6 years and where we need to be going in the future, where our priorities need to be, where are we going to surrender to spirit and allow the awakening to come in. And that's really, the energy is right for that. We'll just see, though, what we do. So in any event, I think that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. And again, I may go ahead and do next week's readings early if things go well this week. Then her due date's on the 15th. So we just want to be available, for when, if the baby decides to come sooner. It's going to be a boy, so they'll have a girl was their first child, and then 2 boys. So that's going to be a really fun thing. The first 2, the boy and the girl, our granddaughter and our grandson, and I know all grandparents say this, but they're literally the coolest kids I've ever been around. They're so smart. All kids that are coming into life these days they're a different type of energy, aren't they? And I mean, if ever there were star children, these are the star children that are coming into form now. It started, they've been coming in for a long time now, but you're really starting to see the children that are born right now. They're different. And so we need to give them a world that they can shine in and become as whoever they want to be. And so I think that with this 22 energy this year, the 2 of bringing in healing and balance and fairness and reason and understanding cause and effect, it allows us to build a better world. So for them. So anyhow. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk again Monday. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.